begun.
Great. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the fourth session and final session of our webinar series about reducing the risk of falls. And safer stairs is our topic today. We have a couple of excellent speakers lined up, but before I introduce them, just a few words. First, I'd like to begin by just telling you who I am. My name is Nancy Edwards, and I'm a board member with CARP's Ottawa Chapter, and I have a long-standing interest in fall prevention. I'm very pleased that CARP Ottawa is sponsoring and hosting this set of webinars. And just full disclosure, Sarah is going to be, one of our speakers is going to be mentioning a Safer Stairs app, a Safer Steps app later on. And I'm involved in that research team. And that's all you need to know about my involvement. Sarah's the lead for it. I'd also like to acknowledge the Aboriginal territory where our CARP chapter is based. We recognize that Ottawa is located on unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation, and we extend our respect to all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people for their valuable past and present contributions to this land. Just a few housekeeping items. All of the attendees are muted. That's done by the program automatically, and we're not able to see you, but hopefully you can see and hear us. We have an opportunity for questions and answers for our speakers, which we'll do at the end of the session. But we encourage you to post your questions as they come to mind. And there's a little icon that says Q&A, and that's where we would ask you to post any questions that you might have. If you've got other comments or questions, then you can use the chat function for that. If you are joining us by phone, unfortunately, you won't be able to post questions or use the chat function, but hopefully other attendees can read your mind and get your questions posted on the Q&A. And the session is being recorded, and all of our webinars actually will be posted at a later date, sooner rather than later, we hope, on the CARP website. So that will be hopefully a useful resource for you. The session today, we have two speakers. Sarah Fraser is an assistant professor in the Interdisciplinary School of Health Sciences at the University of Ottawa. She investigates factors that influence cognitive aging and mobility. And she's particularly interested in falls that occur on stairs and how we can involve the public in making stairs safer for everyone. And our second speaker, who brings a great complementary perspective, is Craig White. And Craig is coming to us from Toronto today. He leads the direct business and dealer network from Victoria to St. John's across the country as the branch manager for Stannah, Canada, helping customers age in place, preventing falls and regaining independence is Stannah Canada's mission. Craig proudly upholds Stannah's traditional family values of quality and service. So we're really hoping to draw on your respective expertise. I'm just going to start with a little bit on the magnitude of the problem and why we actually chose safer stairs as a topic for one of our webinars. We know that over half of Canadians aged 55 and older actually have difficulty climbing stairs, and it's not hard to imagine why when you think about conditions like arthritis and so on. But it also has to do with the construction features of the stairs, which we want to really delve in today. The stairs are leading reasons for needing to move from perhaps a two-story home or restricting use in your home to a single floor in the home. But we also know that most Canadians want to age in place. Indoor and outdoor stairs are common locations for falls, and they account for a higher proportion of falls that cause injuries than falls in other locations. And when you think about how much time you actually spend on stairs, you know, it may take you a few minutes to navigate stairs, but we don't live on stairs. We have to use them in our life. And when you take that exposure time into account, stairs are actually among the most hazardous of all environmental features in our homes and in the community. About 10% of injury costs due to falls across all age groups are on stairs. And that data comes from the United States. And I just want you to pay attention to these yellow highlighted areas here. So these are age groups, and this is the ranking from top to bottom as to what accounts for the high cost of injurious falls. And stairs are right at the top for every age group from 20 to 69. And then it drops a little bit for those who are older than 69. I think because people are using stairs less, maybe just can't navigate them at all at that point in their lives in some instances. But overall, stairs are costly. So governments are concerned about stair falls, as I'm sure all of us are. This is some data from a study that we did a number of years ago in Ottawa and Gatineau. And I just wanted to show this to you because it illustrates three things. First of all, there's some blue bars here. And when we ask people what caused a fall on stairs, and we look at the narrative they provide, what we find is that the majority, over 60%, say it had to do with their own health status or their behavior. They were being careless. Many fewer say it had something to do with the environmental structure of the stair itself or the staircase. And when we ask about stairs that are difficult to use, we see that that's even more pronounced, that people will say, well, my indoor stairs, the orange bar here, are difficult to use because of, my poor balance, my poor vision. I'm not as strong as I used to be. Very few actually attribute it to something about the stair itself. And similarly for outdoor stairs, at your mall and so on, people indicate that they have difficulty using them largely because of something about themselves. And I hope that we can kind of turn your heads around a little bit on that today with some of our discussion. So with that, let me just start with a few basics. And actually, I think what we'll do is ask you some questions. So I've got some polling questions here, and I'm going to put this up in just a minute and ask you to answer about slips, trips, or falls you've had on stairs, about stairs you find difficult to navigate, whether you've thought about installing handrails on stairs, and how you feel when you navigate a staircase without a handrail. So let me just launch this so that you can all see it. And I'm going to ask you to answer these questions, and you have to scroll down to see all four of them. Just use your cursor and indicate your responses to these four questions. You can go ahead and get started anytime. Just click your response with your cursor. You're able to see that, Sarah, are you? Yeah. I don't have people answering yet. There we go. There, people are starting. Give you a few more minutes, or a few more seconds. This is always helpful for us to get a sense of who our audience is and what your experiences are. I'm going to show you the results shortly. Okay, I think we've got most people's responses now, so I'm just going to end the polling and show you the results. So here we go. First question was about a slip, trip, or fall you've had on steps or stairs, and 54% of you indicate that you've had such a fall in the last 5 years. That would be very consistent, I think, with the data that's out there. The next one was what set of stairs you find most difficult to use in your house or apartment or condominium. So this is interesting. We've got about 23% on outdoor stairs, and about half on indoor stairs, main floor to basement. And there's a reason for that, not surprising. Main floor to upper levels, fewer people identifying that as a problem. None for the garage, that's interesting. And then there's a few of you who don't have any stairs. The next one asks about, have you considered installing different handrails or more handrails on your indoor or outdoor stairs? And that's a 50-50 breakdown. And the final question, when you use stairs without a handrail, do you worry about falling? And 81% say yes. Okay, so thank you for that. I think our speakers will come back to that. Just get rid of that. Okay. So maybe just a few basics here, because there's some terms that I know both of our speakers are going to use. And Craig and Sarah, if I get any of these terms wrong, please correct me. But the terms I think on this anatomy of a staircase diagram that you're going to hear the most are, first of all, the tread, which is sometimes called a run. And that's where you actually place your foot as you're ascending or descending stairs. And then the riser is right here. It's the backing. And sometimes there is no backing, in which case we say there's an open riser. Handrails will be familiar to everybody. A newel post is located sometimes at the end of the handrails, and we'll understand by the end of this why that's important. And the last thing to point out is the stair nosing, which we don't see on every stair, but it's where there's an extension of the tread. You can see a little lip on the edge of the stairs. Did I get that right, Craig?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And that's about where my expertise ends. So Sarah, let me just turn my first question to you. And maybe you can just tell us briefly what's involved in safely navigating a stair.
Well, so the people that are reporting their own personal factors, that's part of it, yes. But there's also environmental factors, and this is what I'm focusing on is what are the features of the stairs that actually might make your stairs more dangerous to navigate, and what are some things that we could probably adapt or change to make the stairs safer.
Yes. And what is it about the aging process that might be making stairs more difficult to use, assuming that you're using, the same set of stairs in your home that you've always had, but what is it about aging that might change that?
Well, there are definitely, that's where it comes back to the personal factors. There are sometimes vision changes, sometimes muscular changes that maybe make it harder for you to step up, and also potentially cognitive changes that make your reaction different when you're taking the stairs, and the whole as you take stairs, if they are all even, you will actually have a motor program that you could blindfold a person and they should be able to do the rest of the steps easily because the steps are all even. So your brain just prepares for the next one's going to be the same, the next one's going to be the same. But that's where it's also problematic. If they aren't even or they aren't the same, that can increase the risk of falling.
So those non-uniform steps can be a problem, and I think we'll come back to that with some of the slides that you have. Okay, so I think that's a good background really on why we need to think about stairs as we get older, but even for young people, stairs that are not properly constructed are a problem. So Craig, let me turn to you and your expertise. These are a couple of photos of stairs. How would you say these measure up against recommended safety standards, and anything that you'd like to point out that's problematic about either of these sets of stairs?
Yeah, sure. On the right-hand picture, first of all, the open riser at the back, that's things like depth perception and your foot even going further into the tread that it possibly can. If you had that riser at the back, it's almost a kick plate to tell you my foot stops here. If not, you can literally put your foot right through the back of that. It looks like the handrail on the right as well doesn't extend all the way to the bottom stair. It somehow stops at about the second step there. Kind of looks high, but it's hard to tell from the picture as well. And then on the other side of that stair, the fact that it's open, you know, if you were to, it's not a closed-in staircase, so it's got that opening. There's no rail or spindles along the left-hand side of the staircase to prevent, to keep you in the tunnel, for lack of a better description. On the right, again, you know, the opposite handrails, the left and then right handrail, you know, perhaps there was a reason for that, but, you know, to add another thing as you're going up or down the stairs is, okay, here I'm holding on with my right hand, and now I got to step down and then switch over to my left hand with the handrail. Not optimized from that, and that staircase looks very narrow, and, you know, dare I say, maybe not well lit either as well. So, you know, there's, like Sarah said, there's lots of factors that come into play, both on the individual, but also on the construction of the stairs themselves. You know, down to the lighting, down to modifications, down to, are all the rises the same height? We've all gone down a staircase where that one's just 2 inches off, and you always catch yourself. So,
and this has got the issue of natural light, I guess, that might be streaming through the open risers, creating some shadows depending on the time of day.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, thanks, Craig. Sarah, over to you for the next one. These are some maybe show-stopping looks, but are there some lurking stair hazards here?
Yeah, so on my picture on the left, where it's all the greenery, there's no handrails. So, you know, yes, it looks pretty, but there's no handrails. So it's more than four, like it's 4 steps. So it's probably, I'm not sure, by today's standards may not fit the code, because it's 24 inches. You actually need a handrail. You should have a handrail by code. They also look really short. They do look even, so that's good, but they look really short in terms of steps on the one on the left. In the middle, you've got handrails on both sides, which are nice, and it seems to have an extra handrail that goes down, but it doesn't seem to go down to the final step.
Right.
That's also dangerous, because you're going to be reaching back to make your last step if you're holding the handrail. And they're quite wide. I mean, I don't know, like the building code requires, once it's that wide, that you have handrails on both sides and maybe even one down the middle for safety. And then these ones on the right, I would suspect that once it's wet or a little bit icy, this is a surface that would be quite slippery. And again, there's no handrail to grasp on a potentially slippery surface.
Yes, these middle ones, that mule post is on that second to last step. So I guess you lose hold of the handrail at the third step there.
And in the middle one as well, the handrails are essentially out of service with the potted plants all the way up the stairs on both sides. So looks lovely, but
but it's not going to help somebody navigate.
Not going to help someone, right?
Nobody's ever going to look at a staircase the same way after this, I can tell you.
I don't. I've examined all of mine in my house now.
Sarah, how about this one? There's from an article in the paper about Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, I find I actually have a hard time seeing this one. I can't even see the steps, so I'm wondering how the person is navigating the steps. Like even though there's outdoor light, and then does the door swing out into where she's grabbing the handrail? I can't tell. That's also would be really problematic.
Craig, do you want to add anything to that one?
Yeah, I'm just saying it just looks like just based on how close she is to the wall there, it looks like a very steep staircase as well. And I agree, it looks like the door is going to swing out, and even the handrail itself doesn't look like it's affixed to the building very well.
And there doesn't seem to be any landing here, does there? So
no.
I guess she's going to be teetering on the stairs. So this is something for volunteers to be thinking about, right? What?
Yeah.
what kind of hazards are in place and when you're trying to do your volunteer work.
Mhm.
So, Sarah, let me come back to you. You've been involved in research on stairs, and maybe you'd like to tell us a bit about the app that you've developed.
Sure. So with a great, amazing multidisciplinary team, including engineers, health scientists, and people who actually are sitting members on the building code committee, um, we're looking at stairs for the reasons that you've heard already from Nancy today, that it's good for you to be able to continue to take stairs. It's actually good for your health. But the downside is that there are a lot of injurious falls on stairs, and that is the location where there's the highest level of injury. So what we're trying to do, because we don't have a very good number count, particularly in Canada, on how many falls are actually occurring on stairs and what are the stair features that we've been just talking about that may have contributed to this fall, we are actually asking the public to get involved. We've created something that's that can be done on a cell phone or a tablet. We're asking people to take pictures of their stairs and their environment. You'll see on the right side of the screen, we have a little QR code right now. For now, we're having people put this code in the picture so that we can measure distances in the picture with an algorithm that the engineer is creating. And we'll be able to extract whether or not your stairs are even, whether or not your handrail is the right distance from the stairs, whether or not you have a handrail, if it's graspable, and on all these kind of features that we're looking into that may be contributing to people's falls. And then we're also asking people if they have fallen on these stairs. And we're going to try and associate some of these features with why people are falling on stairs, and hopefully be able to provide feedback to the individual of how they could actually improve their stairs and make them a little bit safer.
Yeah, I know that question comes up a lot on the National Research Council Technical Committee that I sit on about, well, what exactly is the link between a riser that's really high, steep stairs, versus a riser that is, follows the sort of rule of thumb of a maximum of 7 inches. So this will be very helpful. So you've got some pictures, I think, of what's involved. Did you want to say a bit more about the QR code and how that's
right? So this is what we're working on right now, just to ensure that our little app can provide feedback. So using the QR code in the picture, the engineer is basically taking a picture like you see on the left and then turning it into a picture as you see on the right. We can identify all the edges in the picture and then identify measurements from that. So you don't have to actually go and measure your stairs to see if they're all even and if you've got the right handrail level. We're hoping that this app will be able to do this and then tell you, here's some of the issues that we see on your stairs.
So you just need to be able to place this picture, this QR.
Yeah, and eventually our hope, I mean, this is just to get, right now we have to have enough data to do it properly, but eventually the back algorithm won't need the QR code in the picture. It'll be able to do it without the QR code.
Okay. And I think you've got a few slides here of the kinds of things that you're looking for and why they are a challenge.
Sure. So this is a good one. There's a QR code here in the picture, the person taking the picture of their stairs.
Okay.
If you look at the handrail, you would not be able to get your hand around the handrail and properly grasp it. So this is not actually making it terribly safer, because if you were falling, then you wouldn't be able to get a good grip. And as Craig mentioned, these are open risers. This is where it's distracting visually and your foot could get caught when you're going up the stairs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how about this one?
These are my parents' basement stairs. And they have a ladder hanging over the handrail, which is an obstruction, which makes it harder for someone going down the stairs. They also have really high risers. And this is where normally, I mean, this was built a long time ago, so the code was different then, but this is too high according to today's standards.
Yes, and I think we noticed in the polling that a lot of people, more people identified basement stairs as a problem than other stairs. And it is in part, as you say, for that reason. The earlier building codes didn't even really cover basement stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they did, there was a looser requirements for basement stairs than for stairs in to your second level, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You have a house that's got stairs that might be very good and well built and safe to one level and not to another. Do you want to just talk about the 7-Eleven rule, or maybe Craig, maybe you want to come in on that, because I'm sure that's something you're very familiar with too.
Yeah, Sarah's probably a little bit more versed on that than myself, but essentially, when we're looking to do an installation of a stair lift on, and Sarah, I think we should connect because I can probably help you out getting a lot of data on a lot of different stairs. But you know, we do take into effect the rise and the run of the stairs itself. You know, just the pitch of stairs, the angle that they're there. We've seen all kinds. And you know, again, the 7-Eleven is just making sure that you have a safe rise, a safe natural step for the average person, and then the 11-inch tread is just a safe place for you to land your foot when you're going up or down the stairs.
Well, that's kind of become the standard rule of thumb, that no more than 7 inches and no more.
Yeah,
Not that
right.
optimal, but no more than 7 inches for your rise and
Yeah.
at least 11 inches for your tread. And I'm sure we all navigate stairs often that don't even meet that rule of thumb. Okay,
Absolutely.
the next one, Sarah, you've got, these show some turning stairs.
Yeah, so a big deal on turning stairs is that it's harder for anyone to navigate the place where the turn is, because the stairs aren't a normal tread. It's a sort of a triangular shape. So to make that safer, you want a handrail that follows the entire wall where the stair is wider, so that you can grasp a handrail on the steps that are these strange shapes.
And how about this one?
This one is that the handrail ends just before the step ends, and the ideal is to have, if you're able to, and the wall extends as it does here, have the handrail stop after the stairwell ends so that you can continue grasping until both feet are on the floor.
And I guess these things would apply whether we're talking about indoor or outdoor stairs, same considerations. How about this one?
Again, my parents' stairs.
Well, to them too. Stairs for us to comment on.
This one is to show you that here we have a definite non-uniform step right at the bottom of the stairs, and your brain at this point has gone down all the steps of the same amount of depth, that rise and run, and then you get this really short one, and that does actually promote falling. And also in my parents' case, they put in a strip, and there's different kinds of strips to identify, or paint, that you can identify the end of the step, and let people know this is a non-uniform stair, and distinguish it from the floor, because as you can see, the floor and the step are almost the same color. So if you have not good lighting or problems with vision at all, it's going to be hard for you to know that's the last step.
I'm trying to provide some visual cues.
Yeah, I was doing it myself, but I realized I'm not in control.
Okay. And Sarah, maybe you want to say a few words about, how you're going to give feedback to people on the app about how they might make their stairs safer. I know this is one checklist you've been thinking about.
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out how we can do feedback for individuals for their own stairs, but also collective feedback. So once we get a whole bunch of people, like, what are the features that are really problematic and more likely to cause a fall? For the individual one, certainly there are some things that are easy to fix that we will be able to identify easily in our photos, like having a handrail, having a graspable handrail that you can get your hand around. Open risers is actually something it can be an easy fix. And then there are other things that we may not be able to, that we may be able to identify, and it's a difficult fix because of the year of the house build. And meeting the standards today, you'd actually have to rip out walls and things to get the correct angle.
I guess better lighting would be another easy fix, eh?
Well, it depends, because if you have to add wiring stuff, it's not it's an easy fix, but it can be a more on the expensive side.
Yeah. Well, I did a little survey in my neighborhood because I live in a neighborhood that's essentially all bungalows, and therefore it's predominantly seniors. And I walked around only looking at outdoor stairs, and I counted 106 bungalows, and only 6 had handrails on their outdoor stairs. But just about everybody has brand new interlock. So they have been making renovations, but the renovations have not included handrails on outdoor stairs. So I was quite interested in survey results, and I imagine we would see that in lots of places. So Craig, let me, and I'll just put up Sarah's contact information here if anyone would like to know more or wants to get some updates on the app. But Craig, let me turn to you. What are the questions and concerns that you most commonly hear from clients about safety on stairs?
We hear lots of stories from customers. You know, often, unfortunately, the stories we hear are stories of, I've had a fall, I've had 2 falls, I've had 6 falls. I need to do something now. So it's post-event conversations, which is what we'd like to change the narrative on. You know, physical injuries, broken backs, necks, you know, arms, hips are very common. So time and time again, we hear conversations from customers how they've grown fearful of the stairs in their home. They can't use their upper floors. They can't go down to the workshop in the basement anymore because they're simply fearful of the stairs. And you know, I referenced, I think I mentioned it to you before. One of our customers always sticks in my head. She was a retired trauma nurse in a hospital in downtown Toronto, and she sat in our showroom and held my hand and said, "You know what? Like, I just fear going down the stairs. Every time I get to the top of the stairs to climb down, I have visions of these people coming into the trauma room who have suffered falls." And she just stopped taking the stairs because of that fear. So, you know, it's changing the narrative. It's making the stairs safer, so people can, you know, again, age in place and enjoy all levels of their home.
Yeah, yeah. What are the main reasons that you find that people actually say, you know, I'm ready to think about a stair lift?
I guess it's a couple. Unfortunately, it is that I've had an incident and I've had a fall, and often more than one. You know, the other trigger for that is caregivers. So it's a relative, a friend who notices, you know, that they're having difficulty with the stairs. Often they're carrying them up the stairs, or they're watching their, you know, the individual, you know, butt climb, we call it. You know, they're going up or down on their buttocks. So it's usually someone that's recognizing that in some capacity, and then finally, I'll say, convincing the individual that they need to take some sort of action to help them with the stairs.
Carrying somebody up and down stairs sounds like another fall or 2
Yeah,
falls.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now you've got twofold
2
risk,
people.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh boy. I know even carrying my grandson up and down stairs, and he's only 8 months old, is
Well,
making me realize that my stairs are a bit more challenging and I need another handrail that I hadn't recognized before.
carrying things like a laundry basket as
Yeah.
well, you know, you lose sight of your feet, or you know, the laundry's off. You know, it can happen to anyone. And that's one thing too. It's not just a seniors issue. It's I've fallen up the stairs myself, you know, trying to go too quickly. So it's,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, as we saw, you
say,
know, 20 years and above is
yeah,
stairs are the number one
that's
cause
right.
of
Yeah.
injurious and costly falls.
Yeah.
So you've answered this indirectly, but I'm going to ask you
Okay.
now. So when is the right time for people to think about buying a stair lift?
I would say the right time is when, before you have a fall, before you have an incident.
Mm.
I think that people know when stairs are becoming difficult in their own life. They recognize that. Use that recognition for difficulty in stairs to do something about it. You know, I do a lot of comparisons with appliances in your home. You know, if your furnace stopped working, you would take action to, you know, get your furnace fixed, or you know, I always use the dishwasher. There was a time where we'd all hand wash the dishes after a family gathering, and now there's an appliance there that makes it easier for you to get that done. If we look at something as an appliance that will help you in your day-to-day life, then, you know, that's really the answer. So I guess my simple answer to that is as soon as your stairs are starting to become an obstacle, it's time to start looking into a solution to help you with them.
Last week, we had a webinar where we talked to health providers about assessing people's risk of falls. And I think their big message was, you know, if you have a fall, talk to your health provider about them, because it may be a signal of something going on, and you want to get it checked out. So I guess yours is kind of the same advice really around an appliance, as you say. It's a nice analogy that might help people out. Do you want to take us through a few of your slides on?
Sure. We can start if you want to start the video. We'll start with that, just general.
We tested this and it worked before. Right?
Those stairs. Dealing with stairs may be a huge challenge for you. Maybe it takes longer and longer to go upstairs. Maybe you can't do them at all. Stannah Stair Lifts is here to help. Stannah's mission is to help you live in the home you love without having to worry about those stairs. Our stair lifts, sometimes called chair lifts, can fit any home and almost any staircase. So if you're having trouble with your stairs, or you think that you might, let us help. Contact us today so you can enjoy all of your home tomorrow.
And that's that cartoon character. We named him Stan, so we feature him in some of our marketing, just as. But you know, I don't want this to become a product advertisement, but just to talk about stairs themselves. So, you know, there are very different kinds of stairs. You know, when I started in this industry about 5 years ago, I didn't think of stairs ever, and now, you know, I can almost look at them and, oh, that's a 180 with winders, and they become part of your life. But there are solutions for whether you have straight stairs. An example here, just some features of a stair lift that I'd like to point out, starting in the photo on the left. The chairs will fold up, so there's a footrest that folds up, the arms fold up, the seat folds up, so it does get out of the way of the stairs themselves, allowing others to go up and down the stairs without using it, keeping it clear. The second picture over shows the swivel of the stair lift. So again, safety being a major tenet of our business. The fact that you get to the top of the stairs and that chair swivels and points you in the direction to get off the chair where you want to go versus where you came from. The next photo over is what we call a retractable rail. If a rail on a stair lift were to come down, and if you can imagine that continuing on in a straight manner, it would come out into that doorway at the bottom of the stairs, and that creates a tripping hazard that's not even on the stairs. So if that is an open stairwell, if there's a tripping hazard, we put in something like this, a retractable rail that folds up on itself and eliminates that tripping hazard outside of the stairwell.
Right.
And then you know, just a photo itself of you know, how a stair lift goes in. There's a lot of theory out there that these things mount to a wall and they're right up against the wall, et cetera, et cetera. So the actual rail itself mounts down on the tread of the stair. The chair rides up and down on the rail, and it's you know, that's way. So straight stairs, if we go to the next one, Nancy, curved staircases are always fun. And this is where I think I can help you, Sarah. We have software that we anytime there's a staircase that makes any sort of a turn, we do a photo survey. We put markers down all over the stairs, and we design the rail to custom fit each staircase. what we like to do, if you see on, the overhead's a lovely example of it, is we don't stop the stair lift on the very bottom of the stair. We like to wrap it around the newel post and park it around the corner. Same at the top, if we can do like a 90-degree park and get the user away from the top of the stairs, and allow them to get in and out safely. That's not at the top of the stairs. We try and do that as much as we possibly can.
So you're essentially giving them a landing to step out on, both at the top and the bottom. Is that right?
That's right. Yep. You'd much rather get out on a nice flat surface. Even if you ride up or down on a stair lift, sometimes just the act of getting up, we've all got up from a chair too soon and got that whoa dizzy moment. If you do that at the top of the stairs, it's not a good place to have that.
The carpeting of the stair is interesting. Talk about
that's another interesting thing, runners and carpets and loose, and you see some that have that. I remember my grandparents, they had like a twisted metal on the back of where the riser met the run, and to hold the rug in there, and they're always askew, and the rug was always wrinkled, and
dangerous.
Plus, visually
it's very yeah, because you can't tell where one step ends and one step starts, so that's dangerous.
Yep. Absolutely. And then outdoor, we also have the ability to do outdoor stair lifts. Obviously some challenges in Canada when we get into the cold months, but for the majority of the year, operation of the outdoor stair lift is fine. We've put them up at cottages, going down to people's docks, wood stairs, steel stairs, concrete stairs, the availability there. Same thing, same concept as the inside. This is just built more industrial. But as outdoor stairs become an issue, as we enter into multi-generational homes where, often maybe our parents are moving into a basement apartment and there's an outdoor staircase that we want to put in there, there's an option available to them.
Well, and I guess it's multi-generational homes, but it's also being able to visit a family member who lives in a home with stairs they can
absolutely,
access, you can't. I'm already
absolutely
that with some of my friends who
yep.
manage my front stairs. I have a ramp, so I've got an option, but
yep.
It's also interesting that this was, just on, I guess, 3 stairs, depending on how you count them. And a lot of people think about like a big staircase, but the 2-step, 3-step stairs can be just as difficult to navigate as the 11 step staircase.
It's just a personal story is we call it a 90-degree flat landing. So many can visualize the staircase that has, say, 12 stairs up. You come to a landing and then it turns, and then there's 1 or 2 stairs. Every time, the difference between a straight staircase and a curved staircase, we'll walk away from that job because we know that we'll put a curve. We want you to get from the bottom to the top safely, but we're asked constantly, well, you know what, can I just get to the landing? I can always handle the last 2 steps myself. And you can, it doesn't matter where those 2 steps are. You can fall on the top one, the bottom one, the middle one.
That's
absolutely
very interesting. That makes that point very well. And I think you have one more here. Yeah.
And then I just put this under gimmicks and shortcuts, and it's certainly not a shot at anyone or anything, but there are lots of gimmicks out there. Half step cane, I guess that thing's called. A bar that would go down and you walk and you hold on to that bar. I envision this is kind of a band-aid solution, and personally I think it's even a greater risk. If you were to slip with that bar, you're still going to fall. You could fall and actually hit that bar now, so it's actually another thing. Gimmicks and shortcuts, we run into a lot of folks in our business that like to think that a stair lift is a do-it-yourself project and see one on Kijiji or something and then try and install it in their home, and you end up with things like braced up with a 2x4, and I'm not sure how someone would get in or get out of that chair, but that's an actual installation we ran into and we replaced.
Yeah.
And then things like just things that people do, and it's either products or people modifying their stairs in some sort of way to put a band-aid solution over what the real problem here is. You know, it speaks to the fact that they're trying a bit of denial, I guess I'll say, that, you know, why, it's just my stairs. I can take my cane, or I can take this bar, or I can do whatever. And, you know, the real answer is, let's get a real solution for the real problem.
Mhm. Do you usually get an occupational therapist involved in helping to assess?
Yeah,
Yep.
often we're partnered with the CAOT, so we often work with them. You know,
Association of Occupational Therapists. Yep.
yes, yes. So things like the chairs were actually designed with a lot of input from the CAOT. Things like our seatbelt, which we won't go into, but, you know, so you don't fall out of the chair on the stairs, which could possibly happen, is designed with the CAOT, that it's a round peg in a round hole versus a car seatbelt. But yes, CAOT members, caregivers, personal support workers, you know, even doctors with people who've had knee or hip replacement, things like that, or just have injuries that they need help with. So we've consult with all those. And then again, you know, family members are a great source of, hey, mom or dad, you need this, let's help you. But the main roadblock is always self. It's that self-realization that, hey, I need this, I need a little help. That's sort of the hurdle that needs to be cleared.
Yes. So I'm going to turn it over to our moderator, Tim, in just a moment. But while he's showing us his face and unmuting his line, I'll just ask you one more question. And that is, where can homeowners get assistance for renovation costs of a stair lift, of a better handrail, a second handrail, you know, closing up your open risers on your basement stairs? Any suggestions?
So for a stair lift itself, even handrails, bathrooms, walk-in tubs, that sort of thing, where falls also happen, there's March of Dimes is a main source of funding. They have something called the Home and Vehicle Modification Program, where an individual, if they meet the criteria, can get up to $15,000 for modification with their home. And that includes, you know, a stair lift, handrails, grab bars, like I said, walk-in tub, anything that will help them. There's often regional or municipal programs. So there is, I looked it up just before, there is something called the Ottawa Renovates program, which gives, I believe it's up to $10,000 for a home modification. So that's available.
Your municipality, because there might be specific for
yeah,
that.
absolutely. Like, so there's Peel, and down this way there's Toronto Renovate. So usually each municipality will have something there, and there is some criteria to it, but not many people are aware of it. And then just recently, the provincial government announced the home safety tax credit, which will supposed to come into play in 2021, which will provide 25% up to $10,000 for a senior to modify, renovate their home to allow them to age in place. And that's a very positive sign.
In Ontario, that's a tax credit.
That is an Ontario tax credit.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I think I will just add, I think you can look online too, Canada-wide, there are some benefits in housing. There's a residential rehabilitation assistance program to adapt your house for somebody who has needs. And there's also home adaptations for seniors independence program that's available through the federal government.
wonderful.
So there are some places where people can go. So let's turn it over to Tim and questions that have come up, and we'll put them to our speakers. Tim, you're muted right now. You're still muted. There we go.
Sorry, I thought you'd muted me. That's it. Okay, well, welcome. This has been a very good discussion. I've been following it, and we've had a few questions on chat and on Q&A. So one of the things that has come up several times has been the issue to do with traction on stairs, so friction of some sort. So either adding friction or making sure that friction is appropriate for the type of footwear. stuff to do with outdoors. Obviously, we have at this time of the year we have ice, and then the next day it's not bad. I've myself suffered from a near fall when I actually managed to roll down the stairs up safely. One time when I stepped onto my top step and it was pure ice. I stepped out of my front door onto ice and slid and went down the stairs several times, but I fell very safely and I slid out through my front gate shouting
Your
something.
lucky day. So friction, how to,
Exactly.
another surface.
Friction. So the issue of how to add or deal with friction on stairs, on concrete or on wood. We've had several questions about that.
So I talked to my friend who's a contractor last night, and there are, I mean, it's different for outside because yes, you're going to have that ice problem and you're going to need to use like melting products to clear the ice. But there are, for indoor stairs, like a lot of people have slippy wood stairs that are painted and varnished. There are traction strips, which are a little bit more obvious and maybe not as beautiful, but they provide grit and traction on the stairs. But there's also now an anti-slip paint that's available, which I think doesn't have to be so visible, but it's got that grit in it that'll hopefully alleviate the slipping factor.
Thanks. Craig, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I wasn't aware of anti-slip paint, but that's that's great.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Our first webinar was about boots that give you good resistance, and it's the ones where it's a grit that's actually embedded in the fiber that provides the best resistance. It's the same principle, I guess. Tim, back to you. Another question?
Okay. Yeah. Someone asked about the problems of power failure. If you're halfway up or down your stairs on a chairlift, what happens when the power fails? What are there some emergency buttons you can press to alert people that you're there, and how can that be dealt with?
Even better. So the chairs themselves are plugged in with a charger. So there's 2 fire-rated batteries in each carriage. So if the power went out, that chair will take you up and down safely for about 4 days under normal use before it needs to be charged up again. So after 4 days, I always say you're looking for a good bowl of soup and a hot shower versus going up and down your stairs again. But with power outages that usually last, a day, say if you had a big ice storm, you'd be in for something else, but you'll be safe with the battery powered chair.
Okay, that's good to know. My mother-in-law was in one of these powered chairs which lean right backwards, and very unusually she was in the right back position when the power went out. But luckily I was able to run some a power cable to a neighbor who still had power and get her into an upright position, by which time she needed a cup of tea. So
yeah, that's right.
Anyway, that's very good. Is there a good resource that anyone can recommend for safer stairs? Is there a place where you can go to find out how to make your stairs safer? So
the best resource I've seen is the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, because they have environmental features, they have personal features and other issues like just clearing away stuff off the stairs. So they provide you sort of with a wider view of things that you could do on your stairs. That would be my opinion right now.
Craig, do you want to add?
Yeah, I have. It'd be a great thing to have and I looked at Sarah's report card there, just a running checklist of, do you have proper lighting? Are your stairs clear of clutter? Do you have proper handrails? Just a little checklist like that. I'm sure one exists somewhere. That'd probably be a good start.
Checklist. It's Jake Paul's, and if you just Google that, Jake Paul's checklist,
okay,
up, and that's free to use. And we just showed a few items from it. I think it's Sarah's like 20 or 30 items.
It's quite comprehensive. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the best one that I know for like a check. Tim.
Okay. Another issue of going up and down stairs, carrying things, because especially with basement stairs, we've talked about this issue. Many of them don't have very good railings, or the railings are only on one side. And perhaps you're, even if you're carrying something safely in one hand, you often want that to be your right hand, and then you're going up or down with having to use the railing on your left hand. But the big advantage, of using bags, for example, to carry several items, maybe even putting items into a bag and hanging it on the newel post at the top or bottom of the stairs, so that you don't have to remember these things each time. You just put them into the bag, and then when you do go down, as long as it's not too heavy by then, you can go up and down. I actually heard a report many years ago, and I dare not even mention it really, but someone was carrying something very heavy down the stairs, and they tripped on a grandchild who was below them and dropped the heavy item. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but you can imagine this is a very dangerous place to be. And so carrying things up and down stairs is a big issue. I personally don't know whether it's a very good idea, but if I'm carrying something in both hands, I slide my elbow or my arm against the railing, so at least I get a little bit of steadiness. But it is a major issue, and I think I would like to use my stair lift as a method of carrying things up and down. Sometimes I could put a fairly heavy item on the chairlift and then send it up to the top, and then go and fetch.
Is that a good idea? Is that covered by the warranty?
That's absolutely. We get asked all the time. Can you put a drink holder on here? Can you put like lots of things on modifying the chairs here? In the UK, where Stannah is based, they actually ran. There's a time where they were giving out laundry baskets with every stair lift purchase, because people were literally putting their laundry on, driving it down the stairs.
Sarah, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, I have the same issue. I carry laundry baskets upstairs. My laundry's on the main floor, but I carry the laundry baskets up and down the stairs, and it's hard to maneuver. I have railings on both sides, so sometimes that's helpful if you have the space to have railings on both sides, but it is, I like the idea of the bag. That would actually be better, so that your view is clear.
Mm-hmm. Tim, I think we've got time for one more question, if there is another one.
Yes, I think so. Let me think. I think we've covered most of them. Hold on. Yeah, there is one more. Why are new homes being built with stairs that have unsafe features? I mean, we saw some of these very modern stairs that look beautiful. I mean, I love the interior design, and they look wonderful. But I think that's open for disasters. The thing is, people don't realize that railings on a stair aren't just for holding onto. In fact, many of the railings don't have good handrails. But they are to stop you sliding, your feet sliding through the side. And the spacing between the railing and the nosing of the stair has to stop a 4-inch ball falling through, because children can fall through this. They can let their legs can slide through, or their head can fall through. So it's very dangerous, and many of these don't have any railing on one side at all. And the assumption is you're going to be safe. I think children are just as at risk on many of these stairs as seniors. Because
they're right up there. Okay, so why have we still got unsafe stairs being built? I mean, in the older houses, we've answered that question, but what about the new builds? Any hunches? I've got my own, but I'll let Craig and Sarah go first.
I think sometimes it's not necessarily, I think sometimes it's also renovations where something's been changed on one floor and the stairs haven't been taken into account. Yeah. And that's where you get the incorrect nosing, or people just don't put a nosing in, and that automatically makes your stairs more dangerous. They should be building to code.
The building inspector.
Yeah. Should be checking this.
Yeah. Craig?
Yeah, we live in a time of the DIY crowd. Turn on your home and garden television and ask my wife. She thinks she can do a complete house renovation in 30 minutes. So you know, you see lots of things with stairs when you're looking at them every day. People will modify their stairs, they'll modify their handrails, they'll make homemade gadgetry. I think it's, you know, as Sarah said, I think the building code covers new construction and inspection process there. I think once you have that, once you've got that check mark, it's a free for all in one's home, and there's just too much modifications that aren't really approved or warranted.
Yeah. The building code covers major renovations as well, but as you say,
There's
weekend warrior crowd that's
right.
actively open mind. And what we also have is building codes that are tightest for public stairs, and then the next sort of level of strictness is for indoor stairs, and then the next level is outdoor stairs. So the regulations are not even across different kinds of buildings and different kinds of.
Very true.
So thank you, Tim, very much for those questions, and to those who asked them. Those are great. We're going to need to wrap up now, but let me ask Craig and Sarah each for their one take-home message that you want to leave people with. Sarah, do you want to go first?
I just think at the end of the day, it's not about older adults. I think the stairs need to be accessible for everyone. And I think the outdoor stairs personally are a big issue. I've seen it with kids falling off my stairs. I've seen it with people who have mobility problems but are young, like who have cerebral palsy. They can't come into my house. So I think if you can do the at least put in a handrail, that would be my, because that's going to make it more accessible for most people.
Thank you. Craig, how about you?
Yeah, I think my message would be to let's get rid of the stigma around assistive devices, stair lifts included, handrails, everything. There is a element of pride amongst users that they feel that if I take it to this next level, it's, you know, when a senior loses their driver's license, they lose that independence. And, you know, it really is, assisted devices are there to help you maintain your independence and maintain your safety. So to eliminate the stigma of something that's going to help you in your day-to-day life, I think is something as a society we need to get ourselves over. And then again, just let's look at it as an appliance that's going to help you in your day-to-day life, like your dishwasher. And let's just take it from there and get rid of the stigma.
Well, thank you very much to you both. You've given us a lot to think about. I don't think anyone's going to go away looking at stairs in quite the same way as they did when they joined us. Thank you very much to all our attendees and some great questions. There was a lively chat going on, I saw. And we will be posting this webinar along with the 3 others on the CARP national website. We'll get messages out through our CARP networks once those are up, and we'll have links to them through some other organizations as well. So with that, Lee, I'm going to ask you to post our evaluation question, and just ask people to take a couple of seconds to indicate how they found this session. Hopefully.
Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Tim, as well.
Thanks.
Likewise, thanks Nancy and Tim and CARP for putting this together. Very much appreciated.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Thanks, Greg. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent. Thanks, Tim. So we're just waiting for, there we go. If you could just rate the usefulness of the session, that would be very, very helpful for us. I think we finished off Fall Prevention Month with a splash. So thanks. Not a fall. You notice I didn't say that. Okay, 92% found it very useful and 8% somewhat useful. So kudos to our speakers. So thanks, everyone. With that, we'll wrap up. Bye for now.
All right.
Hi,
Thanks.
thank you.
Bye now.
Thanks.